Hello, this is Roland. I want to read something to you from the Sermon on the Mount. I'm reading from Matthew, Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. Christ says in verse 17, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled." Okay? Now that word fulfilled is a very beautiful word. Christ came to fulfill the law. See, if you think about it, for example, the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are things that you already know in your heart. When you were a little tiny child, for example, you knew that you shouldn't hurt people, be mean to them, or steal from them, or lie, tell lies about them. You knew that. When you were a little child, if you saw an injustice, you knew it was an injustice. If one child was being treated nicer than another, or one child was getting more than another, you saw the injustice. So these Ten Commandments are something that we all know in our hearts. Around the world, it's universal. From Iceland to Colombia to Jordan to Zimbabwe to Chicago, Canada, everywhere. Okay, so we all know these laws. But why? So why were they had to be stated? Well, because the human race had fallen very low, very, very low. You have no idea how low people fall when they don't have a framework of morality. So today you have people, trying to break down the law and live promiscuously and cut corners and just do all kinds of big and little wrong things and get away with it. Okay, and they think it's not going to have any consequences. Well, it will. It'll have consequences for them in their personal life and for their family, but it also has consequences for a nation, for a culture. Okay, it has consequences, but we don't realize it yet because we're taking advantage. The people in the United States are taking advantage. I mean, those who are who want to be lawless, the lawless ones. See, who want to take drugs and live promiscuously, and all that kind of stuff. The lawless ones. Well, they're taking advantage of the fact that America was founded on Judeo-Christian principles and was a country of laws. And so we have order. Even in our traffic, we have order compared to the rest of the world. So they're simply taking advantage of the framework, the nice, solid framework that has been established. But once they break that down, then you will have a jungle. Okay? And then getting it back may be not easy, may be impossible. See, except for a dictator to rise. See, that's what happens. That always happens. But then what happens is you begin to have lawlessness, and then there's a cry for law and order, and then a dictator arises, and then everything's worse than it was, much worse than it was before. Then the dictator lays down the law, see, and takes away freedom, and then it's much worse than it was. Okay? So, but now here's the important thing. So Christ came to fulfill the law. He came to fulfill the law. See, the law is fulfilled when the human being is upgraded. When the human being lives in the light. When the human being sees the beautiful principles and obeys them lovingly, because he loves the law. David said, I love your law. I meditate upon it day and night, David said. So David loved God. Okay? And he loved the law. So, you remember when you were a little child. See, children have a keen sense of justice. Maybe you remember when you were a little child, that in the classroom something was going on. There was one student who was a bully or making trouble or something. And then finally the teacher said, enough is enough, and the bully was stopped, or the troublemaker was stopped, and then order was restored. Remember how you kind of liked that? You liked it. Okay? Well, So you can see how people could love the law? Well, when you love the laws that you know in your heart, God said the day will come. God said, it's one of the prophets said it, and it was repeated again in the book of Hebrews, I think. God said, the day will come when I will write my laws into their hearts and minds. Okay? And in that day, one man won't have to teach another man, or one person won't have to teach another person, because I will write my laws into their hearts. And I shall be their God, and they shall be my people. See, we know in our heart what's right. And the law on the outside only confirms, like the Ten Commandments, it only bears witness to what we know in our heart. It confirms, see, what we know in our heart. That's one of the purposes of parents, incidentally. Little children know what's right in their heart. Okay? And the little child just needs the parent to confirm that, especially father. See, to bear witness on the outside to what the child knows on the inside. See, but if the parent contradicts what the child knows in his heart, or if the parent doesn't bear witness to it, see, or the parent violates what the child knows in his heart, well, then you see the problem there. So, Christ came, see, to conquer death, to conquer sin. Okay? And he came to reestablish the kingdom of heaven on earth. And he came to rescue, see, to save those whom the Father gave him at that time, okay, and throughout the rest of history. Those people who are called of God, those people who are destined to one day be children of God, to one day have salvation implemented in their life. Okay? Everything that Christ did and does is for the benefit of those people. See, who even though they make mistakes, see, maybe the same mistakes everyone else makes, and they become angry and resentful and everything else, and maybe they even do some bad things, but at some point they cry out. See, because deep in their heart they love God, so they cry out, and then God answers. And Jesus made possible for those people then to be rescued from sin, and for a process of perfection to begin. See, Christ was the first of a new race of people, new race of beings, who he overcame death. He overcame death, and he's the first of a new race of bright-natured beings who will be the kingdom of heaven on earth. And so those people then, through a process of perfection, they then begin to live the beautiful principles. You remember there was a movie, it was called Fahrenheit 451, I think. It was a story about the future when books were banned. I think maybe all books were banned. I don't remember. It was a science fiction kind of a movie. It was based on a novel someone had written. But anyway, the point is that in order to preserve the books, okay, people got together and said, okay, let's each one of us be a book. You read the book and you memorize every word of the book. You become the book, okay? And then I'll be a book. And we'll all be a book. Each of us will take one book and totally memorize it and know it by heart. So that when the books are banned, then one day later we'll be able to write down every word that we know, and the book will come back in. See? So we are meant to live the principles which you love. See, if you love justice, you love forbearance, you love kindness, you love truth, you love wisdom, you love honor, you love forbearance, long-suffering, all the beautiful virtues, you love courage, and you love all those things, well, wouldn't it be nice if the day came that you embodied those? See, there was a beautiful short story by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It was called Old Stone Face, I think. I can't remember the name of it for sure. I read it a long time ago. But there was when you looked up at the rocks of the cliff, at the mountains near a city, there was a certain shape of stones that looked like a face, a very noble face. See, a face of someone with character. The rocks formed that shape. Okay. Well, there was a guy who kept, who loved the nobility of that face. He kept looking at it, look at it, look at it. And one day, a long time later, everyone noticed that he now resembled that. He was now that face. He was now the noble person that he had seen, the image that he had seen. So we are to become that noble being through a process of perfection. Now, we've all fallen very, very low. So salvation begins when you become objective, when you begin to have light enter your life, and you begin to see things as they are. You see your own wrongs and you're sorry for them. Okay? And you start anew. See? And then as living in the light, and every day beginning the day with meditation. See? The proper meditation. See? Like the one I have. Which is a recommitment to wanting God in your life. And to wanting to know the truth. Okay? And then you have this meditative state of mind. Instead of being in a hypnotic trance caught up with food and substances and drugs and entertainment and video games and whatever it is that you're all caught up with now. Instead, you have a little bit of a distance, a little bit of neutrality, a bit of distance to things. So you still go out in the world and you're a mom and dad, a husband, wife, and a worker, and you have entertainment and recreation with people and, everything. But now you do it without being so caught up in it, so lost in it. You have a new perspective. You stand back and see the big picture naturally as a result of the meditation, of the light in your life. So you walk in the light. And now you begin to see and realize things. You see people's errors. You see your own errors. See, you shy away from what's not right. See, and by shying away from what's not right, see that by not going the wrong way, you're going the right way. So years pass, and slowly but surely you are perfected. See, you are perfected through your love of truth, your love of justice, your love of what's right. See, your love of innocence. You are perfected. And then the law is fulfilled, and the Word is made flesh. See, the law is fulfilled in those people who were given to Christ and whom He leads with the Holy Spirit, leads them in the process of salvation. The law is fulfilled. See, when they continue on this process of perfection, growing closer to God, okay, and loving, see, and thereby worshiping God and honoring God and glorifying God through their witness of His greatness and His goodness and His creativity and loving God, see? So, now you see how that is? Okay. My name is Roland.